Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another installment of Dear Deja. I want to apologize for my last video. For whatever reason, it's my computer's default to turn down the internal speaker. So I know my last video is going to sound low, and that pissed me off because it's like, come on. Why does that keep happening? So I just went and turned my speakers back up. This one should have regular volume. Okay, before I get started on reading this Dear Deja letter, go and hit the thumbs up. Go and hit the thumbs up. Go and hit the thumbs up, right? If you're new here, stick around. Stick around and hear my feedback to the Dear Deja letter, right? After you've listened to all of my commentary, make sure you leave your commentary in the comment section. And if you're not a subscriber, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Okay, let's get it going. Let's read this Dear Deja because we did not come here to play. Okay. Read the wrong, okay. Dear Deja, this is crazy to me. Me and this guy was talking, not in a relationship, more like a situationship, which we both felt was best for us because it didn't seem like neither one of us wanted anything serious. Now, if I'm being honest, I know he had more feelings for me than I had for him. But that didn't matter because we were just chilling. As I said, nothing serious. Because he liked me a lot, he would do things like invite me to his work and family functions as his lady friend. Because of that, I got to know a few people in his inner circle. We had fun together, I can't lie, until I got pregnant. I was so upset and disappointed. When I tried to have the conversation with him, instead of just being honest and telling him I was pregnant, I made up a what if scenario and ran it past him. I was taken aback by his response. From the example I gave, his response was deeply rooted in being a responsible father to any and every child he intends to have. That scared me. I'm not ready for a baby with nobody, much less him. So I decided not to tell him the real story, which was I was actually pregnant. I decided to take care of this on my own. I set up an appointment for termination, got one of my cousins on board to come with, and I was good to go. On the day of my appointment, on my way in the clinic, I ran into one of his friends exiting. We exchanged pleasantries and kept it moving. Obviously, she told him she saw me and he approached me about it. I told him the truth about my fear surrounding becoming a mom and how I didn't want to hurt his feelings by telling him I was terminating the pregnancy because he seemed so excited about fatherhood and whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop. When I tell you this man cursed me out so bad and ended our situationship immediately. I felt bad, but I understood his anger and decision, but I knew I had made the best decision for me. While on vacation during the winter break, I found out the police were looking for me. I never even stole candy out the store, so I was anxious to know what they were looking for me for. Do you know this man is pressing charges on me for terminating my pregnancy? I am confused and I feel so blindsided and disrespected. Is this man really this spiteful? What am I going to do? Sign, this is bitter. All right, so my first... Let me take off these long glasses because it's always a reflection. My first question is this legal? I would look into if this is... did you do something illegal, right? Because I don't know. You know what? Let me mind my business with the legalities, right? Let me mind my business with the legalities. I don't know. Again, look into that, my dear, right? I just wonder because if police are actually looking for you, that whatever. Okay. All right. Heal up, will up, bring it back, come on. The situationship, right? So from what it sounds like to me, I'm just going to be honest with you, my dear. Let me get straight to it. You led this gentleman on. And the reason why I say so is because I get it. Like you said, we were having a good time. It seems as though neither one of us wanted anything serious, yada, yada, yada. But I think the key word right there, my dear, is seemed. Right? Seemed. And the reason why I say something about seemed, because seemed is what makes the difference between how you're feeling versus how he is feeling and what could take place because of those feelings. Right? So now, in situationships versus relationships, the only difference is the perks, right? The perks you get as somebody being your boyfriend or girlfriend, as opposed to them just being somebody you're dealing with and having a good time with, and it's nothing serious. Okay? One of the things that I noticed that you said was that you realized he liked you more than you liked him, and you allowed him to go on with certain things that would blur the lines of if this is a situationship or relationship. Okay? And one of those things is going out of your way to do things that will place value on what we have going on. Case in point, right? In situationships, that means we are friends that have some romantic interest in each other. And because of that, we make each other feel good for the time being. In relationships, that's a whole nother level of building. That's different conversations. That's different actions and behaviors to show that this is not only my friend. This is somebody that I hold in high regard and near and dear to my heart. Now, if you're in a situationship and it starts to teeter the line of a relationship, at that very point, both parties need to figure out what they want. And again, most times both parties don't want the same thing. I've been in situationships where it's like, oh my God, we have so much fun. This is it. Let's move on to the next chapter. And the person is looking at me like, oh my God, we had so much fun. Let's continue having fun. Why are you talking about the next chapter? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the next chapter because it's so good and so beautiful that I think we need to proceed to that. And they're like, I think it's so good and so beautiful because it's not that. Right? And that was like, oh, okay. So now once somebody lets you know that, listen, that stuff that you're trying to do is not what I'm trying to do, and we're not on the same page. So we need to figure out what we're doing. My dear, you wanted the perks of a relationship, or let me not even say you wanted that. You allowed him to give you some of the perks of being in a relationship, knowing that you didn't want to be his girlfriend. And I think you received the response of him wanting to be a responsible and loving and so on and so forth father because of the feelings he shared for you. And granted, let me not discredit this gentleman. Because I don't want to make it seem like, oh, he only would be a good dad if he has feelings for you. No. From what it sounds like, and from what he said, he would be an excellent father to whoever he fathered. I'm just saying, I think he felt the comfort of saying that to you because I'm also letting you know, wink, wink, it's okay to get pregnant by me. What you didn't let him know was that you were already pregnant. And I also feel like you did know that there was a safety in getting pregnant by him and knowing he was going to do what he had to do, which is why you allowed it to go there. Because I'm inclined to think that if you did not want to procreate with this gentleman and you did not see or think or feel that he would be a good option to do so, you would have never allowed yourself to get pregnant. And the reason why I say that is because you didn't say in your letter, oh, I was on BC and I made a mistake and missed the pill when this happened, or we were using a condom and a condom bust. You didn't say any of that. So it seems like, once again, we have the romping shop, right? And I'm going off a wing and a prayer that don't happen because we just cool. A wing and a prayer is not good enough, baby. A wing and a prayer is not good enough. You can't go off a wing and a prayer to not get pregnant when you're actually doing something that could get you pregnant. So I think in the back of your mind, right, with all of this lady friend stuff that you was allowing him to do and flaunt you around and knowing he had more feelings for you, I'm inclined to believe you had the same feelings for him. I just think you didn't want to say that. Because had you not, I think you would have put a pit stop to all of that. as soon as it got started, especially the romp and shop situation that caused what it caused to happen. Right? Okay. So I do think you let him on, mommy. I do think you let him on. And for whatever reason, I don't know. We could examine that more in the Operation Hill 100 Hearts one-on-one session. But I think you led the brother on. I think you led the brother on. Right? Okay. So now, let's just say you did lead him on. But then when you realize when the rubber met the road that, whoa. I don't want this. This is not what I want. No matter how much leading on I did, I don't want this permanent situation. That's cool. That's fine. That's well. And that's dandy. But I don't know how fair it is to not share that information with the other party involved. And I get why you probably are looking at the screen right now like, bitch, I didn't share, and when he found out, look how he acted. So you mean to tell me I should have shared and had this situation? Who knows if you would have had the same type of situation, had you shared. Maybe he would have responded differently if you guys were able to talk about, your feelings and your fear surrounding having a baby and yada, yada, yada. Maybe he probably could have got more on board with the termination because you guys had some dialogue about it and he understood how you felt and, what was some of the reasons you were feeling that way and vice versa. But I think when you robbed him of the experience of even having a conversation of a child that was his, I don't think that was fair to him. But you know what? I want to talk more about you than about him. I think that there is some issue there surrounding confronting things. And because you have an issue confronting things, you just allow them to go on and you pretend like, okay, this isn't really happening. Or you allow them to go on and then you do something sneakily to resolve them because you don't want to confront the situation head on. And the reason why I say that is because let's start from the top when you said, he was kind of overstepping his bounds in the situationship area. If he was overstepping his bounds and he was inviting you to things and treating you like you was his girl, why you ain't just head on address that? Hi, I like you and we're having fun, but I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And you inviting me to things and introducing me to people is a little bit too much for me. Right? But I think you didn't want to confront that, so you allowed that to go on. And I think when it comes to the sexual piece, were you in consent with having unprotected or whatever type of sex y'all had to produce the baby? Right? I'm going to say unprotected for lack of a better term because I'm not there. I don't know. But was that something that you were okay with? And if it's not, because you knew that you could possibly get pregnant, why didn't you address that head on? Then after you got pregnant, instead of you just saying, hey, Johnny, we have a situation that we need to sit down and talk about so we can address head on, you gave him a what if scenario and then skirted all around it. So I think that we're dealing with a bigger issue than the gentleman and the termination of the pregnancy and the court case possibly. I think you're dealing with all of these things because you have an issue with confronting things head on. I'm going to assume that you're an adult, right? In my assumption, I'm going to have to say to you what I say sometimes in my unpopular opinion videos, and I think it holds true in this situation too. Mommy, I know you don't want to hear this, and I want it to come out as delicate as possible, but I have to say it as real as possible. You have to grow up. You have to grow up. You have some maturing to do. You have to grow up. You have to grow up. And a part of growing up is being able to sit down and confront situations head on so they don't escalate in a way that you did not want. Right? Because it's one thing to want something to happen. It's another thing to want me, the other person, to help you make it happen. And then it's another thing for you to feel that way and not actually say it. Right? So let's just say, just giving an example. You have a project that you're working on. And that if I was your friend, you would like for me to support you, right? You haven't said anything about me supporting you. You just want that to happen. You don't want to have to say anything to me about supporting you. So you just go on and go around me not supporting you without saying anything. And then you feel away because I didn't support you. I get it. I get that you feel away that I didn't support you. My only issue was you didn't confront me about being unsupportive so I could rectify the behavior. So it's not totally my fault. Of course, we could go through the whole where you're a friend, you're not supposed to support you. No. I get that part of it. But the first part of it is if you want something or you need something or you want to resolve something, you have to be willing to address it head on. And I think it makes the situation sound a little bit more harsh when I say confront, right? Because, in most situations, confrontations are problems, right? So let me stop using the word confront and let me use the word address, okay? There's nothing wrong with addressing situations head on. There's no harm, no foul. And on top of it being no harm, no foul, it also lets folks know your position and they're clear. Because I think a lot of times when you don't address things head on, it gives folks the reason to assume. And once they start assuming, they're coming up with their own reality. So it's like, okay. And I think in this situation, he probably feels like you are trying to be vindictive towards him by terminating the pregnancy. Again, that could be 100% wrong. But because you did not address the situation with him, you left him open to assume. He could assume anything at this point, which is probably what he did, which is why we're now at the whole legal point of the situation. We're here because a part of you is not mature enough to address situations head on. I get that it seems as though what he's doing is very vindictive, and it does seem a little weird because I was under the impression you and the gentleman were cool. So, in the words of Deborah Cox, how did we get here? Nobody's supposed to be here. But I can almost guarantee you how we got here. We got here because the termination of the pregnancy allowed him to start to think about, oh, this bitch trying to play me? Of course he's going to have his own thoughts. You never shared with him what the situation was and what your thoughts and feelings are surrounding the situation. So now that you went and did something behind my back, I'm only left to assume how malicious and vicious I think your ass is. So now in turn, I'm going to turn malicious and vicious, which is I'm going to the cops, I'm bringing up the case, I'm pressing charges, and so on and so forth. Do you see how this circled back to you? Because most times, folks look at situations from the head, right? Folks look at situations from the head. So when a person is looking at a problem, they're looking at the total end of the problem, right? Me, my mind works different. I'm always looking at the root of the problem. And the reason why I do so is because I do not want to repeat this again. I do not want to repeat this again. And if I only look at the head and the base of what's taking place, once I resolve that, I forget everything underneath that caused that, and eventually it will happen again. It will happen again. It will happen again. And I'm there like, oh, why am I going through this same thing again? Because you never got to the root of the problem. Which is why I don't want to take away that he may come across as very malicious and vindictive with what he did. But I think if you scale all the way down to the root of the problem, which is you have some fear or some reservations with addressing things head on, this is how we got to him being malicious and vicious and all the other things that he has become as a result of your actions. I'm going to give you an example, right? I have a huge issue with consistency, right? I had. because I'm currently working through it. I had, right? So I had a huge issue with consistency because I had a huge issue seeing things through, right? So my huge issue is at the head consistently. Oh, I didn't lose this amount of weight. Oh, I didn't finish this program. Oh, I didn't build up this business or this brand or whatever the case may be. All of those things required me sticking something out, right? And the head of it is, oh, you didn't lose this amount of weight. Oh, you didn't finish this program. That's the head of it. But it's like, Khadijah, you're only looking at the head. Let's get to the root of why you didn't finish it, so the next project or the next brand deal or the next program or the next weight loss journey you're on, you don't fumble the bag. Why didn't you finish, right? I didn't finish because I didn't make that happen because I don't have consistency. Why do you lack consistency? I don't see things through because I didn't used to. Stop claiming that now, Khadijah. I used to not see things through because I was afraid of disappointment. And that came from being a little kid, right? When I was younger, the two people that I valued or looked up to the most, there were times that they disappointed me. So because of that, it taught me not to strive for things and fear that it wouldn't happen for me, right? So it would be something like this, something very small. Like say it would be like, oh, well, Khadijah, if you pass 3 obstacles, you're going to win $1 million, right? For me, I get to the second obstacle and give up. It's like, oh my God, keep going. Why you didn't go to the third one? I ain't going to get the $1 million. What if they say that ain't the amount we going to get? What if we ain't playing that game no more? What if I don't make it through? And it's like, why the fuck you sitting up here making up all these what ifs? Why you can't just go and see what's going to happen? Because I don't want to be disappointed if it doesn't happen. That's the long and the short of that, right? So because of that, it taught me not to reach for things, right? So if it's a goal right here, like I just gave you, getting to the $1 million, I'm not going to be consistent enough to see that go through because I honestly don't believe that it's going to happen for me. And I hate to be disappointed. That's the root of the problem, right? Everything not getting accomplished on the top, that's the head. The root of the problem is you're not reaching for those things because you're in fear that they won't happen for you and you don't like the feeling when you're disappointed. There is a saying, I'm actually going to find it because it's one of my favorite sayings in the whole wide world. And it's one of the quotes that I use to move forward from that space while I'm working on thinking about being disappointed. And it really helps, and I use it as a little mantra because it really does, it helps me with staying focused in the mindset of stop thinking about being disappointed. Thinking about if it's actually going to happen for you. And now I've grown to a space that it's no more if. It's going to happen, right? So the quote is this: there's freedom waiting for you. There is freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky. And you ask, what if I fall? Oh, but my darling, what if you fly? Right? And that's what I have used. So at the root of it all, I'm no longer thinking that something is not going to happen for me. I'm no longer feeling that way. I'm telling myself when that should happen. And you know why? Because I'm going to put in all of the legwork and I'm going to be consistent and I'm going to follow through and I'm going to make it happen so I don't have to feel disappointed. So my dear, going back to what I was saying to you, him being malicious and vicious and all those other things he called you, I don't deny or disagree with that, but I think it also came from something that you're lacking at the root. You're only focusing on the head of the problem. And what you're lacking at the root of it all is that you have an issue addressing things head on. And because you don't want to address things head on, you let things go and fall by the wayside and you shift and move around it. And then afterwards, everything else is in disarray because you never addressed what was taking place initially. So now we're here. How did we get here? Nobody's supposed to be here. All right, so if I would really love for you to book your Operation Heal 100 Heart session because I would like to have some conversation with you about addressing the root of things. I hear the head, I hear the cops, I hear the case, I hear the termination, I hear all of that, right? And that's just what's taking place right now. But if we don't address the root of the problem in the future, you will have another issue with another person that escalated to that point of the whole vicious, malicious feeling, because what needed to be addressed initially never was, because you don't want to address or confront things head on. That's what we're going to talk about in your Operation Heal 100 Hearts 101 session that I'm claiming you're going to come to. Speaking of not being disappointed, I'm not going to tell myself I would love for you to. No, I've given you such great feedback that I anticipate seeing you, baby. That's the space I'm working from. Didn't I just say y'all that? Boom, look, I healed my own heart again right there. Girl, you better do this motherfucker work. So anywho, all right, sweetie, I will see you soon. I will see you soon, and I hope and I pray that this advice that I gave you, it sets the stage for us to work together so we can confront some of those things, pull that up out the root, and create a new you. You know, a better me, a better we. You know what I'm saying? And we are ready to take things by storm in 2024. We're not letting our demons hold us back. We're not being reluctant and afraid. We're not confronting things that bother us or make us feel away or pigeonhole us. No. We going at things head on and head first so we can be better people. Okay, so like I said, my dear, I'll see you soon. Hey, if you're still here right now, you should be in the comment section giving them the feedback like, Deidre, you killed the game with this one, or Deidre, I wasn't really feeling your feedback, or whatever your commentary is. I want to see it, right? If you are new here, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I know 26 minutes ago, you hit the thumbs up. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to be cranking out videos all week. So I'm so happy and I appreciate your support. Thank you.